My next guest is a business coach and strategist dedicated to helping mamapreneurs build profitable and passion powered businesses. Please welcome Lianne Kim. Welcome to the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Patricia Bourgeois, certified business coach. I am here to help you up-level, generate consistent wealth, increase your confidence, attract dream clients, and master your mindset so that you can fully own your power and achieve next-level results in your online business and beyond. Every week, a powerful conversation will take place with amazing guests, or I'll share from my experience to help inspire you to start and scale the business of your dreams while being powerfully you. The time has come to stop playing small, stop hiding, and stop waiting. Now is the perfect time for you to passionately pursue your heart's desire as the powerful leader you were born to be. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I am here today with Lianne Kim. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to chat. Please feel free to introduce who you are, what you do, and why are you so passionate about what you do?
Sure. So I'm Lianne Kim, and I'm a business coach for mom entrepreneurs. And really, my passion stems from I was a mom with a day job. I had
Mm.
two little babies, and I had a side hustle and a dream. And after trying to, work full time and juggle motherhood, I really decided that the best path for me was to create my own revenue, to go out on my own. And originally,
Mhm.
I meant to be a sales consultant, sort of pivoting from my sales career, turning that into consulting. But very quickly, I realized, the people that need my help the most are mom entrepreneurs. And they struggle with a lot of the
Mm.
things that we're going to talk about today. They struggle with pricing themselves and selling themselves.
Mm.
And I just became very passionate about helping these women build profitable businesses on their own terms that would allow
Yeah.
them to also have, the time and the freedom to be great mothers, to spend time with their
Mm.
family. That
Mhm.
really is my mission.
Yes, and I love that so much because I've had a lot of clients who were also mothers, and like you can truly feel the passion, the drive, the ambition. Like it's like a whole other level when you have a family to take care of. So I really love that. And so let's talk about those struggles, like you said, and like which ones would you say are the most common ones that you see?
Yeah. So, I mean, in a nutshell, women struggle with money.
Yeah.
We struggle with making it, deserving it. We struggle with keeping it in some cases.
Mm.
We struggle with a lot of things around money, and I talk about this in my book. Most of us were raised in. I grew up in the '70s and '80s. Most of my clients are, of that generation as well. And
Mm-hmm.
we were raised to not talk about money, right? Talking about money was rude, and
Mm.
there was really no one we could ask questions to about money. Money was something that was handled by the men in our world, right? Usually our fathers.
Mm.
And then for a lot of us, as we got older, it was handled by our partners. And that's not to say that's always the case, but money has traditionally been a very masculine concept and topic. And
Mhm.
it's just not something that people come from a more feminine space are encouraged to know about and think about. And that was definitely the case with me. And then
Mm.
as I grew older, I realized, well, wait a second, there's nobody really helping me figure this stuff out. We would have things like economics class in high school, but we weren't learning about things like how to make great money and how to save money and how to prepare for, your future. It just wasn't something being talked about. And I think that is sort of
Mm.
the root of this problem. And now we have a generation of women who struggle with that. Money seems foreign to us and it seems separate to us. And that's why I'm so passionate about women running their own businesses, because when you become the CEO of your own business, now
Mhm.
all of a sudden you have to deal with money, right? You have to earn it. You have to be okay with things like, deciding what you're worth and packaging your services and putting a price tag on that. So in
Mm.
general, I mean, that's the general area, but we could certainly go deeper into, some of the more specific problems that I'm seeing.
Yeah, let's talk about the deciding what you're worth
Mm.
because I feel like that's a really interesting concept and a lot of people have very different opinions about it. So I'm curious to know like what yours is.
Well, let me put it this way. You
Yeah.
wouldn't walk into a mall and walk into a store and expect to get a sweater for free. And in fact, the higher quality the store and the higher quality the sweater, the more you would expect to pay for that. So why is that any different than us, putting our services out there? We
Mm.
are solving a need in most cases. So I coach other coaches and consultants, but I coach photographers, designers, artists, creators. And in
Mm.
every case, they are still serving a need with their work. They are
Mhm.
helping someone achieve something that that person wants. And so it makes no sense to me that we would struggle with charging for that, but we do. Right. And
Mm.
again, now we know why that is happening. It comes from years of programming. So my issue is that we should be charging for our services, right? We should not be doing favors or doing things for free, and we shouldn't be discounting for friends and family, because I don't know about
Mm.
you, but when I first got started, the people that hired me were my friends and family. That's all that knew
Yeah.
about me. So we struggle with it because it's us. Whether you are a
Mm.
product or a service, it's still coming from you, this thing that you create. And so to decide upon, well, what should that be worth? What would somebody pay for that? I'll hear everything from like, "Oh, but is that too much? Or would somebody
Mm.
really pay that?" And I think, of course they will. There are literally people paying all kinds of money for all kinds of things everywhere
Yeah.
on this planet, right? Some of the things that I look at that people pay money for, I'm like, oh, well, it's not for me, but clearly it's working for them. So why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Because as
Mm.
women, we are not taught to value our contributions to society. That's really the root of the problem.
Mm. Ugh, this is so spot on. I love it. And so, how would you say, like, how should we start to decondition all of these things that we've been through, that we believe in? Like, what would you say is the first step that you go through with your clients?
So, I mean, the first thing I help people identify is their zone of genius. So it's, what are
Mm-hmm.
those things that you're really great at, that you also really enjoy doing, that is of value to other people. And I say that last piece, that piece is really important. If there is no market for what you do, you can have a lot of fun, but you're not going to be successful in the ways that I know women want to be successful. So a great example of this would be someone who has a particular skill. They're very good at it. They love doing it, but nobody actually needs it. Right? And I've
Mm.
seen this a lot, and I can see these people trying and trying and trying again. So if there's no demand for what you do, you're going to struggle. Maybe there is demand, but you don't love it. And also, you're going to
Mm.
struggle if that's the case. So you really do need to have those three pieces in place. You got to really understand what you do well. You got to enjoy
Mhm.
that thing. And then you've got to be able to identify that somebody needs that thing. And if you have those three things, then the next step is to attach an appropriate price to that thing.
Mm.
And everyone asks me, is it okay to charge a little? And I say, you know what, when I was first starting out, my first coaching offer was 500 bucks. It was
Mm.
10 hours of my time for 500 bucks. So essentially as a coach, I was making $50 an hour. But you know what? That's what I needed to do to get the yes and to feel comfortable moving forward. A lot of this is about our comfort zones, right? If we haven't
Mm.
done something a lot, if we're not sure we're good at it, that's no reason not to charge for it, but charge appropriately. And then
Yes.
once you get that proof of concept, you can charge more. I now no longer charge $50 an hour for coaching. It probably comes as no surprise, but that's we all have to start somewhere, and you will not get that proof of concept exchanging your gifts for free. It's not the
Yes.
same proof of concept. Essentially that kind of behavior of bartering or energy exchanges. It feels good in
Mm.
the moment, but it's not actually helping you build a business. It's not helping you build
Mm.
paid proof of concept. And in order to know if you have something good on your hands, you have to charge for it and people have to be willing to pay for it.
Yes. This is so good. And you're so right. Like I remember the first time I sold my coaching, I was like, I felt like so empowered. Like, yes, like that validation, like when you first start something. So I totally get it. And yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
so let's talk about your podcast, The
Mm.
Business of Thinking Big. So I want to know, like, where did that idea come from, and like how did you get started, and all of that.
Sure. So, my first business was called Think Big Sales Consulting. I thought I was going to be a
Ah.
sales consultant. And
Ah.
I ran that business for 2 years with that name. And then when I started the podcast, I was shutting down that brand. But everyone loved the thinking big part.
Mm.
People would see the words think big. I had clients who would see the words think big on a billboard, take a photo of it, and send me a text. And they're like, look, it's you. There was just something about that expression, think bigger or think big, that people really attached to. So I didn't want to get rid of that. And when I started the podcast, a big part of my coaching, I'm highly strategic. I help women make a lot of money
Mm.
with very specific business skills. However, the biggest skill that is needed in this day and age is the ability to dream big. It's the ability to
Mm.
have those visions. It's the mindset piece, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so in my podcast, I combine, empowering mindset work with the business strategy. And it is, I mean, I'll tell you this, people don't hire a coach because they want to think smaller. We could all do that on our own if we just leave ourselves alone. And in fact, that happened a lot in the last few years over the course of that
Mm.
pandemic. Is people didn't grow. They felt like they were in this place where they had to shrink and be smaller and contract. And so I love that we're coming out of this finally. And the women that gravitate to my work, they want to
Mm.
challenge themselves. They want to build an
Yeah.
empire and grow and serve, but they have these limitations, right? So the podcast is really just another tool, that and the book, a low cost
Yeah.
way of me being able to help women take things to the next level in their businesses and
Yeah.
their lives.
Yes, I love that because it's so true. Like we get clients because they want to have that support, that guidance to go bigger. And I love that name, and I love your mission. It's so, so, so empowering. And yeah, like I want you to share with us like one of your greatest accomplishments. Like it could be in business or in life. Like I want you to brag a little about what you do.
Oh goodness. Well, one of the things that I'm very proud of, that I do reference a lot in my work, is the fact that I hit six figures in my business within 1 year. So
Wow.
I quit my job in late 2016. Went out on my own. Early 2017 was my first time running a business and having that be, my sole income. Up until that point, I'd only ever had side hustles, which I loved,
Wow.
which were fun. But originally I said, I want to coach people and I want to help people. And I had done the math. I said, well, if I can make $2,000 a month, I think me and the family, we would be okay. And then
Mm.
I caught myself and I said, why am I setting the bar so low?
Mm.
You know, I am helping other business owners achieve more and attract more dream clients and build their dreams. And if I'm only making 20K, 30K, 50K a year, what is that saying about my ability to serve them as a business
Mm.
coach? So I coached myself through the discomfort of setting higher targets. I spent many years in sales, so I know the power of, if you have monthly targets and you're working towards them, you will eventually start to achieve the results you want. But if you're flying blind, if you're kind of like, I kind of want it, but I kind of don't, you're sending messages to the universe,
Mm.
you're not going to achieve it. So about month 3 or 4 of being fully self-employed, I got really serious and I set really specific targets, and I just
Mm.
raised a big part of it was I had to raise my prices. I had to go from
Mm.
500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, 2,000 to 3,500. I made these leaps in my coaching, and at the same time, my coaching was getting better. My services were
Mm.
getting more cohesive. So it only made sense. I had more experience, right? It made sense to
Mm-hmm.
charge what I was worth. And I'll never forget, I had a dear client. Her name is Tamitha. She worked with me for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And she came in to a discovery call in that first year. And she said, I've heard good things about you. I want to work with you. What does it cost? So I gave her my entire pitch. I walked her through the program and I said, and it's $3,500. And she sighed this big sigh of relief. And she said, oh, thank God. I thought it was going to be a lot more.
Oh, that's a
And
sign.
yeah, and she wasn't a true A player. She was the kind of woman that I wanted to be coaching. And I said, okay, that's a sign. And so from
Mm-hmm.
there, I just kept that in my mind is that, people that if you are a coach or consultant, if you are helping people get further faster in their lives or businesses, they do want to invest. They don't want to get it for free and they don't want to get it for cheap or a discount. They may
Mm.
ask for a discount, but deep down, they want the feeling of truly investing in their growth. And that's what this woman knew. And as I say, she stayed with me for 3 years while my prices only went up and up and up. And she kept paying them because
Wow.
she knew that I was worth every penny. And right around October of that year, I was like, oh gosh, I really want to get to six figures. I better check and see how far away I am. And lo and behold, I'd actually passed it already. I had
What?
actually passed the $100,000 mark. And that's not, I want to say that not everyone has
Mm-hmm.
those aspirations. But
Mm-hmm.
for me at that time, I had never made $100,000 in a year ever. Even in a
Mm.
day job, I had never done that. So to do it for myself, and then very quickly, what started to happen is women started to ask me to help them do the same thing. When I got
Mm.
really clear and they got really honest about it, they would say, you know what? I know I said I only wanted to make 60K in this business, but I actually want to be making $100,000 a year. Can you help me do
Mm.
that? And that's exactly what I do. I help women build big dreams. I help them get really specific about the actions they need to take, and I help them cross that six-figure threshold. And every time they do, whenever they tell me they've hit six figures or seven figures for the first time, they always get, a surprise in the mail, or we send them flowers or something just to acknowledge that, because that
Yeah.
milestone is those hitting those milestones and feeling supported. It's so important. It's so important that we don't feel alone in this journey.
Mm. Yes. Ah, this is so good. I love it, and I love your like what you do, and I know your clients are so 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 happy to have you as their coach.
I hope so. I mean, I'm on a mission to help women have better lives. It really, I
Yeah.
talk about money and I talk about how we have to get over our fears around money and pricing
Yeah.
and charging what we're worth. But at the end of the day, this is all in service of us living the best possible life and making
Mm.
the biggest possible impact than we can make. It really, the funny thing is, it really isn't about the money at the end of the day, is it?
No.
It's about so much more.
Yeah, it's about the freedom for sure.
The
I love it.
freedom and the life and the I think about the years I wasted sitting in a cubicle making someone else millions of dollars. And I
Mm.
think about, it's not easy. This entrepreneurial path is not easy.
Mm.
But if you're clear in what you want and you start to just focus on doing the right things, right? Being strategic. I help
Mhm.
people not just build out offers, but build out their entire suite of offers. So they
Mhm.
understand how they're serving their clients at every level of their
Yeah.
journey, right? You're doing it right now through this podcast. For people who aren't ready to
Yeah.
do coaching work with you, this is how
Exactly.
you're warming them up. This is how you're getting them ready for that by sharing your genius
Yeah.
here on your show. And so, yeah, I really do think that we are living in an era where anything is possible. And I want to teach my
Mhm.
daughter. I have a 10-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy,
Oh.
but I'm specifically committed to helping my daughter see that anything we want to create
Yeah.
in life is possible. Because I feel like boys already have that. They already know that. They're already feeling good about that. They don't need, my son is just extremely confident and often with absolutely no cause to be. But my daughter, I want her to see that she can make her own way. She can make great money, but she can do it doing something she loves.
Yes. Ah, so true. I love it. I love how you lead by example. And yeah, I'm celebrating you. This is awesome. I ask this to everyone who comes on the show, and I'm curious to know your answer. What does it mean for you to be a powerful leader?
Mm. Oh, this is a great question.
Mm.
I would say being a powerful leader is all about making the difficult choices.
Mm.
If I think about who I was 10 years ago, working for somebody else, putting in the 9 to 5 and, essentially being led by others. I worked in great teams, but I don't think of myself as a leader until I went out on my own.
Mm.
In those days, I was really making the easiest choices, right? I was saying yes to what felt comfortable instead of looking at what felt uncomfortable and saying, hey, there's a challenge there.
Mm.
Um, so I think it's, leaders have to make tough choices. Leaders have to hire smart and fire smart, right? We have to sometimes make the difficult decision to let a team member go, even though we love that person and wish them well. If they're not thriving in our team, then that's a difficult choice.
Mm.
Making a difficult choice to stop selling a program that isn't serving anymore, making the difficult choice to say no to some. In my book I call them not opportunities.
Mm.
Right, it's those opportunities that look like they might be fulfilling, but upon closer inspection they're actually not getting us closer to our goals. We got to look at those things. We got to make the difficult choice to walk away.
Yes.
Right, so really, to me, being a great leader is being willing to make the tough choices even when it's uncomfortable or painful or difficult, and knowing that through the discomfort, you are growing as a person and as a leader.
Mm.
Growth doesn't happen when we're comfortable, right? Growth
Yeah.
happens when we are stepping out of that comfort zone. And that's,
Yeah.
what I encourage women to do every day.
I love it. Awesome. So I know people will want to go follow you, get to know you, see your offers, check out your podcast, your book. So where can they go online to do that?
Sure. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation, you should definitely check out The Business of Thinking Big. That's my podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to podcasts, and I release a new episode every single week. We are, at the time of recording this, about to celebrate 200 episodes.
Woohoo!
Yeah. You can also find me on Instagram at Lianne Kim Coach. And if you are interested in building a joyful business of your own, then I would love to offer your listeners a free copy of my book.
Awesome.
So I wrote a book. It's called Building a Joyful Business. It is a step-by-step guide to doing a lot of the things we spoke about today, right? Creating a business around your zone of genius, attracting dream customers, all that good stuff. So if you head to liannekim.com/book, and enter the promo code POWERFUL, you will get the
Yes.
book for free. You just have to pay a nominal shipping fee. And I have to tell you, I've read a lot of business books. I have to toot my own horn. It is a pretty phenomenal book. If
Yes.
growing a business is what you want to do and you want to do that joyfully, please get your free copy, liannekim.com/book and promo code POWERFUL. The book will be free. You just pay the shipping.
Awesome. I'm definitely getting that book.
Yes, please, please. Be my guest. I really want as many people as possible to
Awesome.
learn from my mistakes, and
Yeah.
I do believe that we can be successful financially and have the family life, the personal life that we want as well. And I really am on a mission to help people do that. So thank you for allowing me to do that here today.
Of course. It's been incredible chatting with you. I'm so glad we met. And yeah, we're definitely going to keep in touch. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. If you love this episode, make sure to spread the message, leave a review, and subscribe. I would forever be grateful for you. I also want to hear from you, and I want to know your feedback and your questions for future episodes. So don't be shy, say hi, and send me a message at Powerful Female Leaders Podcast on Instagram. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.